Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment. All right, Frid, episode 47. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. But first, we received some listener comments. An individual named Just Sama from Brazil said, "Hey, I love your podcast. I've listened to every single one. I wait for it every week. Lots of appreciation from Brazil." Well, that's fantastic. And to that, we say fantastico. So, oddly enough, I was looking for some tips or actually how to fix a small bug in Mantis, or not Mantis, in the Groot spreadsheet organizer. And he had actually asked about that and had some tidbits in there. So we saw his name a few times this week. So that's fantastic. All right, with that, we're going to jump into gearing and leveling, otherwise known as talk about Frid's roster. And Frid, why don't you start us off?
That's right. We should rename the segment at this point. But so Emma, of course, we're 2 weeks in, I guess. So the spending plan continues. But before I get into that, I'm going to talk about the Red Guardian event. There's about 4 days left, I believe, as of the time of this recording. And I completed the Orb event already, which just tells you how much blitzing has been involved. That unhealthy amount of blitzing. But there's so many characters. All of them have been important, right? Yelena, Cole. Was it Longshot? No, maybe not. Didn't start that far. But anyway, all of these. So I'll keep blitzing because I like the orbs. Just because it's important characters. Anyway, the raid event, we thought maybe before we have reduced the difficulty to lower levels just to see people can use those special characters, but we didn't do that, and we found a way to be on track to complete it, not ahead of schedule, but right on schedule, without having to change the difficulty. So I think that part of it is the maturity of the alliance, and then some of these season characters. I actually made a team for Ultimus 7.5 that I'm really enjoying, and that includes the 3 season symbiotes: Symbiote Spider-Man, Anti-Venom, and Carnage, with X-23 and Emma Frost. And I've been using that on all non-boss nodes. It's a total controlling team that just basically doesn't let the other team do anything. And I've been using that, and it's all 5 seasons, so I've been getting a lot of points for the alliance there. Not sure if you've done anything similar there, Creative, that you may want to share with people.
Not really. I've just been doing my usual, which is symbiotes, so I was getting those, and then
3.
I've got Cosmic and Beta, so there's 2 right there, and then I got Global, and there's Emma, so I wasn't having to really do anything. I was always getting at least 2.
Yeah. And when you say 2 in Cosmic, you mean you're running Black Order, right? Just straight.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And then even on the global node, I'll switch out one of them for Emma.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I'm ahead of the points, per player points, so I'm fine. Yeah.
Yep. So very good there. And then so we should be fine. And then I've been doing the daily arena blitz event, obviously with this big amount of blitzing, and thankfully, it looks like now it's official that the blue and red orb blitzes, they were dropping the orb fragments and the milestone. So that was good to see.
Precedence has been set. It must be so from now on.
They don't revert to the time where they didn't have it.
Yeah.
I think that was an oversight. It looks like they forgot to code it. So as of right now, I am at 35 out of 130, which means he is 4 red stars. I have 1 blank red star, but I think we said you could get to about 265 shards. So that means in the next 4 days, I could get to maybe 70, somewhere around there. We'll see if I can maybe outpace that.
But you're not going to go open a bunch of the orbs for cores, are you?
Unless I'm within like 40,
okay,
then maybe. If it's more than that, we're talking, 5,000-6,000 cores, and I don't think so. But
Okay.
we'll see. The core has been growing. I haven't been using them as much, so there's that. Okay, so talking about the spending plan, I took all of the Skilletary team to 65 tier 11, and I put the T4 on the Red Guardian passive. So that team is now 250k right now. I had Killmonger and Punisher fairly higher than that, but I made the others get caught up so far. And so now that happened like recently, so I'm gonna try them in war against some teams to see how they do. I'm struggling with some of the T4s that you need, like on Merc Soldier. Like, do I really want to do this for war? But I mean, that 30% damage.
But again, we're seeing that you have to have them. They're punch across, not punch up on the defensive meta team. So
that's right, with the stuff.
Right.
If I don't even have it, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So anyway, more testing to come.
But more importantly, though, how are they doing on Blitz Sim?
Right. So you had asked me about this, and I didn't have them quite to where they are right now. So okay. I was using them more for a. When I lose, just bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
But today, for the show and for science, I did say I'm going to consciously pick them for 8.3. And I think I won 3 and lost 1. It was super close. I think I showed you the picture. Mm-hmm. Like, Hulk was red. It had a little sliver and got me. But I think they have potential to be sure to win at 8.3.
Okay. Because that's the bar now. So they can't win on Blitz Sim. Right. They're worthless.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so I also did Taskmaster to tier 14, which is a nightmare in defense. I mean, so I've been getting defensive victories there. Another team that is getting me defensive victories is the Wave 1 Avengers that you have abandoned. And Hawkeye got to tier 13, and I did Hulk's ultimate because it increases the adjacent damage and the multiplier when he's below 50%. So if you think about when he does that leap, he can take somebody out, that's around whoever you're hitting.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's trying to hide behind a taunt or something, that little extra. And remember, he's 7 red stars, blah, blah, blah. So my wave 1 is 435k now. So pretty solid. And they got a few defensive victories a couple wars ago. So I think he's kind of a handful on that team. And Hawkeye has always been a pain.
Yeah.
Ironheart got to 7 because of the Blitz, so I'm done with her, finally. Nothing to say about Power Armor. Still don't like them. I need to do something about that team. Black Order. I hit level 80, and I got him all to 80. And Thanos to tier 15. So when you go to Thanos on War, he's over 200k. Just him.
Wow. Good
That's
grief.
Crazy. And this has helped me hang on to top 5 in Arena pretty comfortably, I would say. So Dr. Octopus came back, and I got him to 7 yellow stars. So that guy got a boost as well. So that's the updates in terms of farming for the week. Now, your favorite thing, or I guess my favorite thing, is my analysis paralysis of things that I can never do. But it's a little bit more organized and more narrowed down. And we have 2. So let's start with the DD4 version of this. So I'm level 80, which means I'm ready for DD4 as long as I have the materials. Here's the debate. So Thanos was the Mystic. He's done. No questions asked. Now, I need 4 other characters to get in. And the recommendation is that you spread them across the origin traits, right? So starting with tech. The choices that I have here are Dr. Octopus and Ghost. So here's the argument. Dr. Octopus is legendary, so you can only use him at the beginning and at the end, right? And it's one of the recommended characters for the end, the legendary nodes. But in the middle nodes, city and all that, you can't use him. So you kind of invest up front, and then he just sits on the bench until you get to the end, which could be months from now.
Right.
Ghost is global, so could help you through the first 6 nodes, which is more linear, right, and more in order. However, to me, Ghost is kind of useless otherwise. And Doc Ock is really good on Blitz. He's really good on War, both sides. And also, you've seen him show up in PvP as well as some Ultimus nodes and raids. So, what do you think here? Do you have any opinions with these two characters?
Well, you had mentioned that Ghost is expensive, I think, in some of our conversations, and so I'm looking at the chart, and she's
72.
72 pieces, and he surprisingly is only 54.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if anybody is actually purchasing the tier 15 pieces, you know how god awful slow another 20 of each individual piece. That's 40 would be. So. In terms of starting, I mean, it's hands down Doc Ock. And I realized when I was kept pestering you about the skill military team that I really probably never gave a definitive answer on PIM. So I do want to do that in my section. I still think Ghost's a great character. I've watched some videos, and people are one-shotting the first 8 nodes because it goes kind of anything you want to into global. And Ghost is typically a part of those. But I just have the concern of where does Ghost go? Where do you use Ghost? You and I now have similar lanes in Gamma, and we can use Ghost there. And tier 2 is ridiculous, and she's a strong character. Mm-hmm. Doc can be used on the Spider-Verse stuff, so he can still be used anywhere and everywhere. He has actually more usage. So I would just because of the 40 plus pieces that you would have to get for Ghost, I would simply go Doc and start personally.
Yeah, that I was against it, and then our war captain kind of brought it up, and I'm like, he's crazy, he's legendary, why would you do that? And then the more you think about it, it's like, you know what? He'll help us right now with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Or Ghost, eventually we'll do her, but it's a matter of ordering, right? Okay. I think it's decided, and I think I'm almost ready to do this like in the next couple days.
Okay.
So that'll be awesome. Okay, next, Mutant. So Sinister and Emma Frost. I think they're both expensive, so no.
That's 54 for Sinister, 72 for Emma.
Okay, so Emma is more expensive, but I'm a huge fan of Emma Frost. Yeah. I just think she has more versatility. PvP, Ultima 7. She's just awesome. And then Sinister, I've never been that high on, but it's cheaper. So what do you think here? Any? I don't know. There's a wrong answer, but
yeah, I mean, either character's is good for what we want them to do. I mean, certainly we use Emma significantly more than Sinister, and the reason we don't like Sinister is, one, we never had great red stars on him. We had to buy his red stars, and that's only been over the last few months. And we've always been behind the meta on him because he was one of these characters that they paywalled in a sense. We had them at very low, but you really need him at like 5 yellow stars or more. You need him at least 4 red stars for him to do his magic, which is the crazy healing. So this one, if you're focusing on DD4, the answer is Sinister. His ability to clone. Again, I saw a couple of videos where I think it was Casino cloned, oddly enough, Ronin, and had a bunch of minions running around, then cloned somebody else. And so for DD4, I think Sinister will be phenomenally more valuable. But across the game, Emma is just that much better. She's just hands better than him. And we were talking about it the other day. We're like, just that ultimate where she clears everything. That's unreal.
Every time I see it, I'm just like, how? Like, no matter what, everything is gone. You're like, nobody can do this.
Yeah. And so, we've gone, both of us have gone against, what I think it was like at least 6 reds, maybe 7 red Emmas, and you just can't kill her either.
Right.
And it's like 3-on-1, and she just slows you down, and next thing you know, you get character blown up. So, I mean, I'd have to lean toward Emma just because of what we do, but if you're just focusing on DD4, Sinister, but overall, Emma.
Yeah, I that's where my heart is. So it'll probably be what I do unless I get DD4 fever. So I won't do any of them. This will probably be the last one. I'm really struggling here.
Okay.
All right, skill. Next one. Baron Zemo and Proxima Midnight. Okay, so here's one where Baron Zemo, I think, has the edge in terms of usability across the board. But Proxima Midnight will give me an arena kind of insurance policy type of thing.
Yep.
For the time being. And she is useful in the cosmic node. But Zemo is global, so he's more about the order, right? Do you do one first or the other? So what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, so and we had a conversation in the RNG in-game Discord channel where someone was showing some screenshots of some teams that we've known about, we haven't really talked about on the show. I'm still a little bit against it, but the team is Zemo, Red Skull, Hydra Grenadier, Hela, and Loki. And that team is beating Marauders and some of the other key metas for war defense. And so the reason I'm against it is you're really breaking up three teams. And we'll talk in future episodes how war is fundamentally changing. We all have more than enough teams that we want that you can start doing some of these theory crafting things and not be penalized because you can get all your attacks in. But, I mean, Zemo's a great character. My problem with him is they put him in the Battle Pass, which is their usual game of we're going to not really make him farmable, but claim he's farmable. So I don't know when he's going to be farmable. Mm-hmm. Whereas Proxima Midnight, you and I both have her already at 6. I think you might be pretty darn close to 7 if you don't have her already. So the more yellow stars, all the better. You really need 7 yellow stars in a lot of these characters, or at least 6. And I'm nowhere close on Zemo personally. I think he's a phenomenal character. But again, we talked about the Black Order meta is going to last for at least 2 more months. While we see some things about Dr. Doom coming out, and he can definitely shift the meta, and we're seeing some things there. Most people aren't going to have him for 6 months. So, to me, it's arena insurance. I go Proxima Midnight. Plus, she's going to synergize with your Thanos.
Yeah. She's more expensive is the other drawback, and a lot of people are all hyped up about Zemo.
Oh, yeah. But he's good, yeah.
I'm all about Proxima here.
Yeah, I went up against a big Proxima, and I actually lost in Arena just because I had never got her down. I didn't realize how big she was. So, those things help. I mean, she's 72, he's the 54. So the usual 40-plus materials isn't really worth it. So,
okay. And then finally on the bio side, there is 2 symbiotes, obviously, Scream and Symbiote Spider-Man. And Scream, the argument is just cheap. And then Symbiote Spider-Man is Symbiote Spider-Man. I don't know that there's much that we need to say. There. He is a machine. Yeah. So, but he is expensive. So,
yeah, he's 72 versus 36. That's a hard discussion there for sure. I mean, Scream, I always I take her out every once in a while just to charge up Emma, and I always regret it. She does so much stuff, and I complain that she was the wet noodle and she, dies. But man, she's so awesome in terms of her abilities. It's hard to that's a great debate right there. But I would do Scream to get you in because I mean it's 36.
I don't know that as a symbiote needs any help. He's already doing enough, right?
Right.
So this one may be easier than we think. Yeah. An Invisible Woman is one of the legendaries, so it's also bio, so saving a little bit could help. But anyway. Yeah. Okay, well, just wanted to discuss that, and I think hopefully you find that useful. Okay, so what's next? For me, I'm going to do these DD4 characters that I just talked about just to get in and to help me in other aspects of the game. But then as I was doing my plan, I found a bunch of characters at the bottom of the roster that I think are interesting to bring to the parking lot just so that I can get the spending, right? Because the gearing at the 11-12 is really expensive. So here's some of the things that I came up with. The whole Astonishing set, Kitty Pryde, Iceman, and Beast. And I realize those two are not out yet, but I'm just saying by the time this is done, they may be out. So I'm planning on bringing them up. And then Cyclops, who I had forgotten forever, finally time to at least bring him to the parking lot and maybe put him into the X-Men.
And the reason you're considering that, I think our listeners might need a little context, is you already have a very big X-Force. We talked about that. You've already brought up X Factor pretty high.
13,
and your Brotherhood is already high. So you're not starving for mutant mats like I am. So you have that potential to bring another team up.
Right. And see when Jubilee comes around to get use out of her kind of straight away with her team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then She-Hulk. I mean, I guess it's time. I guess she's good in Fantastic Four. Maybe she makes him a little bit more consistent in Blitz. I don't know. I would think so. And you can move Namor into the Dad Bro team until the rest of the X Factor come through. And then there's some even more interesting ones. Night Nurse. There's a rumor about a rework, and I have like 1,000 shards of her, so I'll go ahead and bring her up. I have a Hand Archer that's 6 red stars, and there's a rework rumored, so I'll bring him up as well. And then the Kree Minions. They've split into 2 teams that actually kind of win most of the time, so I'm gonna bring him to the parking lot just to help out the rest of the Ronans and the Ultimas and the Captain Marvels. And finally, this one I don't know, Shield Trooper. I don't know about him, but how do you use him? Where do you put him? With the Shield minions, and then.
Well, my plan is to put him with Wave 1 whenever Wave 1 gets some attention.
Okay. Well,
put him between the 2 crazy taunters. So between Captain America and Hulk, and so supposedly that's working. We've seen a few content creators do that one. He's on a random team that I use to get up, but he's not part of the 8.3 rotation for me. I'm using Coulson with Shield, and that team wins pretty consistently.
Mine didn't, so I don't know what's going on, but okay. Enough of that. That's what's coming. So I know a lot of people go more tall on the war teams, but I've always been a fan of going wide just to maximize those blitz points and have teams all over the place. So I'll continue that practice here. That's why you see some of these, and just because I have blue and gear that I can use to get to that level. So creative, I've gone on enough because this is my segment. Do you have anything to add from your side?
Yeah, I mean, so you didn't even really talk about it, but we continue to spend $2.4 million every day because we've been stockpiling for a while. So that has been a welcome change to actually get to spend money. I think you're still complaining that you're constrained, but this is a phenomenally better experience. I do really, 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 really want Scopely to consider getting away from this milestone approach and tying it to spend, because a lot of people are going to start cutting back on their spending, which then hurts their progress, which then frustrates them. So I still don't like this mechanic. I feel like it's not a good experience. But anyway, we are spending like crazy. So just in terms of farming, the War Store, we got Minerva, I got her at 6, X-23's at 6, Sinister's at 7. So I have finally decided just to stop farming characters, and we'll talk a little about an announcement that may change that. And I've just been farming tier 15 pieces, and I've done some tracking. The tier 15 pieces show up, guess what? More in the War Store than in the Gold Store. So I'm almost out of war currency already.
So I will say that I believe it always shows in the bottom middle every time in the War Store.
It feels that way for sure.
Not in the Gold Store.
No, Gold Store will go 2 or 3 refreshes and I won't see one. It's really annoying. So, we've complained about the RNG of the stores. I won't make our listeners go through that again, but
I do want to mention something.
Yeah,
because I showed you that screenshot today. From the War Store, I had X-23, Mr. Sinister, and Minerva all in one shot, which would never happen.
Never happen.
Until I got them all to 7. Now here's here you go. Go have him. I'm like, no, I don't have him. I
Yeah.
already have him.
Yeah,
So anyway,
typicals. Yeah, so
typical.
I'm almost out of war currency already because I'm buying the tier 15 pieces. So now I'm scaling back and I'm looking for specific pieces that I'm low on. But I'm probably going to continue that, and we'll talk some more about that. I am still 20 plus pieces short for Thanos, so that I'm looking for those crazy geodes. That's my big thing. Um, what else? So last week I reported that I did Proxima and Maul's passives, and those give more focus and resistance to the Black Lord. I think they're 10% bonuses. Overall, I have to punch up a lot. I'm not a whale. I have not spent any money in any kind of volume since the very beginning of the game. So I'm always punching up against bigger teams. And I will say that Thanos' death proof stays on more often when the flip happens. And then definitely when I'm punching across or punching down, I'll still see a lot of green after a flip. But again, I'm typically punching up, and I don't see a huge difference. But it does make my Proxima look a little bigger. It makes my Maul look a little bigger, which I need because I'm always the smallest guy in the top 10. But I didn't see a huge difference. So if you're strained for T4 mats, I would not recommend doing that. What else? I did use Mantis, and that what we talked about last week is a overlay program of sorts. For those that play on the PC, you can run Mantis in the background and then go through your characters, and automatically captures their character data. You can upload that to MSFGG, and then in turn, through button clicks, so really just clicking buttons, upload and transfer data, load that into the Groot spreadsheet organizer, the roster organizer. So Frid said it last week. I'll say it again. The MSFGG guys, Zeratools, that's phenomenal stuff. I was dreading having to update my roster and do all that, and it was pretty darn easy. I think the only issue, Frid, you had to help me, was just making the game window bigger. I'm notorious for having like 10 windows all at once, and they're all tiny. So I had to make it a little bigger for the thing to recognize. But once I did that, works like a charm. So fantastic work to those guys. If you're a spender, if you want to donate to their cause, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. I still can't get over that Scopely hasn't hired these guys and like made an API already. It's just crazy what these guys have been able to do outside of official channels. So anyway, where I was going with that is I finally updated my roster spreadsheet. I haven't done it in about a month just so I could do my planning. I have a lot of golds. I have a lot of ABCs. I have a lot of mats. I have a ton of orbs. And so I got to, and so my goal was to spend, I think it's some ungodly number, 60 million or something over the entire event, so I get as many shards as possible, because they're going to play the same game as Symbiote Spider-Man, and I'll never get a 7. But I couldn't get all the way. So I'm going to run out of training mats. That's my complaint that people have always heard about the last third of the way of the event. So I'm going to have to scale back at some point, but either way, we're going to get plenty of shards past 6 and that. And so what have I actually been spending gold on? We've been talking around this. I've already gotten Doc up to T14. Swarm and Electro are tier 13. Yep. Yeah, it was 3 days because it's 2.4 million. It's phenomenal. It's not a week and a half. It's awesome. It's awesome. So anyway, he's T14. Swarm Electro tier 13. Mysterio is 11 or 12, and I'll get him a little higher. So now they're my 7th highest team, and I'll get them even more. But because of autos and blitz, I don't know how to play the team. They win in. You told me they win on auto or win, in sim. So that's all I've been doing. So I will hopefully get to take them out in our next war and give them a run. So that, and then with this some events coming, I have a bunch of things I'm considering. Dad Bros. So we saw a video from OMG and Philosopher is the guy that finished 4th or finished DD3 4th, the 4th person to do it. Basically showing that Doom, Dad Bros, Emma, and Yo-Yo can beat huge pump ups of Black Order on auto. So, there's always been this commentary of Doom is too slow, you can kill Doom, and we saw videos of him getting killed right away. But if you throw him in with some other strong characters, the legendary soup, if you will, That appears to be the new meta. So I'm still enamored with the Dad Bros. I want to do them, but I am a little low on mutant mats, and I have a lot of mutant things. I want to do X-Force from, I think they're about 250 to 300k. Black Order, I've got to get them to 80. Marauders, I still haven't really leveled them as much as I probably need to. So yet again, more mutant mats. And then I want to do the switcheroo, put Bullseye into the Mercs, take Killmonger to the skill military team. And then the team I keep talking about that I never do, Wave 1, Avengers is on the list as well. So I have a lot of things to accomplish. And I opened my 500 or 600 purple raid mats, and I went from all red on the inventory sheet to pretty darn good. So I'm pretty good across the board. It's just the darn training mats are my usual problem. So that's a lot of stuff to do. But I did want to come back to Pemtech. And so I kept saying I was going to lever them, and I leveled them, and I said they're okay. And I never really came back and gave a I don't know if I would call it a definitive answer, but gave an official kind of recommendation. And so overall, I think they're very similar to the X-Force in terms of blitz. I do think you have to spend a little bit more than parking lot to get them to win consistently. They are winning consistently in blitz. They're not a guarantee win like Black Order and Symbiotes and some other teams. You have to be a little selective with the matchup, but they win pretty darn consistently, 80% of the time plus. So they can give you another blitz team. You can use them in Dark Dimension, but I don't see anybody taking the full team in for a lot of reasons. The fact that they're all tech being one of them. And so, they have become required for Jubilee, which is a team that we don't need, or no one seems to need another raid team. We've got Symbiotes, we've got other options. We're already doing Ultimus 7.5 without this team. So you have this team with no real purpose beyond unlocking a legendary, which appears to be a very good character, let's be honest. But to me, I can't recommend people actually investing in them over some of these other teams like, Doc Ock and the Sinister Stick. There's a lot of tech in there. So if you're gonna invest in the parking lot, that's fine. But until we see a real true purpose for them, particularly in war, and I need to do some more testing, but I really do think they can take Doc Ock. You can shut Doc Ock down for at least 2 or 3 turns, but there's some timing issues in and around that burst. You have to get Doc low and then burst him down, and that really requires Yellowjacket's ult. He's the only one on that team that could really do it. So I'm going to do some more testing there, but I do think they could take Doc Ock, and now everybody's going to, or not everybody, but a lot of people are going to have Doc Ocks. So if they become viable for that, I think they have some value, but there's better teams that do this better. So for the mid-tier player, Ghost is a good character. If you got Ghost through the blitz and all that, fantastic. The healing capabilities, the dodging, great character, but I would not recommend going for the team for a mid-tier player, or definitely not a new player. But for the in-game player that you already have a bunch of tech stuff, sure. But I would not recommend going after this team beyond using them for a blitz team. So that was a whole lot of stuff. I feel like I've been talking for an hour, but what do you have commentary on that?
No, I mean, that's good to know. I have them at about 250 or somewhere in there, and they've been doing okay on blitz. Like you said, you just gotta be careful of what you pick, but they do the job. But I haven't found any other use for them, so that's where I'm a little bit stuck about investing anymore. So
and we haven't seen. I've been very surprised. We haven't seen anything from the content creators that are typically experimenting and doing things with him. But I'm not paying probably as much attention as I used to be. But if they can take out Doc Ock, that would be some value. But there's better teams out there for war. There's better teams for a lot of things. So yeah. What else? I mean, probably the only other thing is just blitz. Oh my god. So, we had the end of year post, and it was like blitz after blitz after. I need a blitz break. I was desperately hoping that we would have 2 weeks off and that Kitty Pryde would not come this coming week, but the next, it appears she's coming. So, I am likely I really need a blitz break, to say the least. Plus, we have all these events after events after events. So I'm a little burned out as it comes to all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to ignore Kitty Pryde, but I'm not going for 1%. And if Iceman is a blitz, oh, yeah, so...
That's right. They haven't said what he's going to be. I'm hoping not another blitz. That would be...
That would be 2 months of blitz. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So...
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just tired of thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, that's just the thing. Even though it's sim, it's still a chore that takes a while, and you have to do it to get all this stuff. So we'll see what they do about it, if anything.
So that was a whole lot of stuff. And obviously, when we get to spend $2.4 million in gold a day, we get to do a lot more stuff, and it's a lot more fun. So Scopely, again, please think about getting away from that milestone, getting away from that mechanic. It's not a positive experience when these milestone characters go away. So anyway, that was a whole lot of gearing and leveling. And we wanted, and I commented last Sunday that I wanted to start talking about bugs. And I want to do a new section called The Bug Reports. And so we're not going to do this every week. We cover it typically in our news or other things, but maybe once a month. I do want to call out all of the issues that we're seeing, because there still are a lot of defects out there. Now, this is nowhere near what we experienced 2 years ago, a year ago, where we would get an update and the game would crash left, right, and center. A lot of these are nuisances. Some of these are really annoying, but most of these are not game-breaking defects, but we're just seeing a lot of things out there we want people to be aware of, and most importantly, navigate around these so you don't have issues. So first and foremost, a new character is coming, or is out, and that is Red Guardian. Guess what? There's a defect for him. It appears to be innocuous in that, on his healing move, I don't even know what ability that is, but on levels 4 and 5, it doesn't heal as much, or is not healing. But the lowest levels and the highest levels, it is working fine. But as you're leveling him up, be aware you might not want to stay on that particular tier. So that's one. The roster screen, we've talked about how nice it is to do the save teams and go edit them instead of having to recreate and do all that. There's still a lot of defects on what they've done. So first and foremost, we've talked about it probably. In War, when you go to the save teams selection, none of the war buffs are applied. It's what you would see outside of War. So that one's surprisingly...
I have noticed that, yes.
Yeah, so that one's been there for a month and a half. So that one's surprising that they haven't fixed that already. I don't understand why. What else? There's also some issues when you go to select a team. And let me think about this. It was not in all game modes. Trying to remember all the different options. But I think it's in War and Blitz that I see it most. When you go to the team selection screen, it's probably, when you go into the team selection screen, you use that, and you turn your phone, just because when you turn your phone, you can see all the teams a lot better. And you select the team and you go back, it ends up being a bunch of windows in itself, and you can't actually see what you've selected. You can't see the timer. And I think it's War and Blitz, and I'm doing a bad job of explaining this, but when you go select a team there, you turn your phone, or you happen to stand up when you're doing it and the phone turns. When you go back to when you've actually selected the team, you actually can't see what's going on. You have to exit all out. So that one's annoying. Mm-hmm. The other one is when you go to the roster screen and you select teams, and then you use that to find a character that you want, or you're reviewing those, you go, well, wait a minute, Mysterio's a little low. Let's go level him up. But you do it from the team selection. Whenever you go back to the roster screen, it pops up the teams list again. And then even if you are staying in the main roster window and you surf around, you go into a character, you go back, it still pops up the team window. So it continually does that even if you do it once. It's like it's broken on the cookies or the thumbnails of sorts. The breadcrumbs, that's the right term. The breadcrumbs kind of get broken on that. I mean, again, these aren't big deals, but it's just, yet more clicks that we have to do.
It's like navigational stuff. It doesn't affect the gameplay, but it's just annoying to deal with.
Now, and I have reported this to you. I've gone out of my way not to make sure I get it, but I've gotten rid of most of my raid teams in my save teams. Which, can we get some more save teams already? Good grief! But I only have one raid team saved now, and that's for the boss nodes. But I have to move some of the characters around. And what I'll do is go to the save teams, select that team, check one or two people out, put the people back in, and I'll load in, and people will be out of order of what I selected. And that's a big deal because on boss nodes, the early boss nodes, I'm using Thanos, and I intentionally have Maw and Black Bolt next to him to get energy. And so I've almost wiped now twice because it loads in a completely different order. And I don't understand why that would be the case. So that one's really, really annoying. But Frid, I've said a bunch of things there. Any commentary on those?
No, I mean, I haven't noticed this one about the order, so I'll have to keep paying attention because I haven't noticed this one at all. I know you mentioned it, and I was like, I thought I saw it, but then no, I didn't. Yeah. So I'll keep an eye out. But so far, I haven't seen this happen.
Yeah, so that one to me is one you really have to be careful on. So if you're selecting a save team and then editing it, be really careful. I would keep that team, exit out of the raid node, and go back in with the team as is, then go in. Again, it's happened to me twice. I have intentionally not tried to reproduce it because it gets me to wipe. What else? In terms of characters, the X Factor is, the Dad Bros have been out there for a while and people are excited, but they're getting twice as much speed as they're supposed to from their passives. It hasn't really been acknowledged, it hasn't been talked about, and it's been over a month. So that's another strange one. I hope that does not tarnish their capabilities, but I doubt it will.
Yeah.
All right, what else?
I'm a big fan. I have them both at 13. I've actually, at one point in my DD4, Longshot is one of the ones they consider for the mutants. So it's for Cosmic Mutant. So it's possible that I may include him in there because it's cheap and he's very effective in other game modes.
Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. What else? Orbs. Let's talk about orbs and the defects in orbs. Well, first and foremost, Yo-Yo is still only in the premium orbs. How has this not been fixed yet? Sorry, folks. I just couldn't resist. So seriously, though, the milestone orbs, I really think Scopely forgot about them. They have none of the newest characters from like the last year and a half. It's all old characters. I find that so odd. I really think Scopely forgot to add those characters in there. Of course, I'm not counting the minuscule chance of getting Symbiote Spider-Man or Coulson.
Yeah, I think I complained to you about this. I've opened them pretty frequently, at least 10 at a time, and I think I've seen Symbiote Spider-Man once in the last couple months. It's really bad.
I haven't seen Yo-Yo in at least 6 months. I don't think she's in the orb. I'm gonna log a ticket on that one. What else? Oh, yeah, so Scopely tried to do some scamming as well. So with Doc Ock's event, there was a bunch of orbs they recirculated out. There was a Spider-Verse orb for maybe 450 cores or something like that. There was a Sinister Six orb, and then, of course, we had Payday, so they rolled out a Merc orb as well. Well, none of the new characters like Swarm, Electro, and Taskmaster are in those. It's all the old characters. So I'm like, come on, update the orb already. Jeez. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, Swarm and Taskmaster are farmable. They should at least be in the orb, so that was kind of weird. And then this is actually a bug on me about orbs, and I said that Ghost and Yellowjacket were not in the Ultimus orbs, and that is incorrect. But if you go to those characters, you go to the PIM characters, go to Symbiotes, or any of the new characters, you hit the Find button, the Ultimus orb does not show up as an option. I don't know why that's the case. Of course, they want to show you the Premium orb and the Mega orb, but they don't show you the Ultimus orb. So I found that kind of odd. I haven't looked and seen if that's just a general thing that they don't tie any characters to the Ultimus orb or what, but so that was odd.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else? It's a long list, folks. I'm sorry. It's just I don't write the code. I just play the game. PvP has quite a few bugs in it. We've talked about some of these in the past. And first and foremost, summons and clones do not account towards the ability objectives. This is really, really annoying. I mean, it's fundamental to the kits of some of these characters. I think this is really bad design. So that's one. Greg is considered an Asgardian by Thor, but not so much in terms of these abilities. So that's one. What else? At the very start of the match, so most times Frid and I are autoing, but I like to cheat in terms of pure auto, and I like to choose my target first. And if you are not the person that goes first,
I've seen this for sure.
You can't select anything. You have to wait 150 seconds or whenever they decide to show up. So this one is really odd to me, that you can't select the character you want until they come into the game. Very, very strange. Very, very weird.
Yeah, I have noticed this. I don't think you can hit auto either.
Oh, really?
You have to wait.
No, you can hit auto. I'm pretty sure you can hit auto.
No, then you're right. It's just about selecting.
Just a selection piece. Okay. One that's super annoying that has happened to me several times when we have the Emma head-to-head matchups is that the fights will run really long, and you're super excited because you're going to get all kinds of objectives. And then towards the end of the match, the game goes, you've been kicked out of the match. Would you like to rejoin? You try to rejoin. It says the match is no longer valid, and you get no credit for the objective. So you've been sitting there for 3 minutes on auto, watching them tap each other back and forth, and you get nothing. That one is, when I see this match is no longer valid, I want to cry on those. So that one's really annoying. I don't know if it's maybe the other player left or what, but that happens particularly on matches that run very long. And then to me, the most egregious defect in PvP is that your basic ability does not account as an ability. Last time I checked, you got 3 abilities for non-minion characters. The basic should count. It is so painful when you have a slow tank. No. It is only the ultimate or the special.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. You auto way too much on this. But when you get a slow character, it takes forever to get the 10, the 50, the 150 in terms of those. Yes. So that one to me, go ahead and test it out. Prove me wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I'm pretty darn sure that only ultimates and specials count and that basics do not. And so this makes it almost worthless to run minions in PvP because they have one ability. They don't have both the special and the ultimate. All right. So that was a long list. Again, we're not going to do this all the time. But we want to cover those. There is one last one that I found from some of our alliance mates. We're talking about, order. We're talking about Blitz, and they were having troubles winning with certain teams. And so I was sending them screenshots of my teams winning. And we found out, the Blitz screen has 2 options in the middle. You can show the stats, or you can hide the stats. And if you hide the stats, you get more of the profile, cool look of the team. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you show the stats, you see the gear tier and their collection power. Well, we found out, and so first and foremost, if you're doing Blitz Sim, always show the stats. It makes a huge difference which character is the highest. So if you have a big Black Bolt, you want to make sure that the Hela or the Emma is not the biggest character on the other side. It makes a huge difference. You want to make sure
you can't see it on the...
Exactly. You can only see it when you see the show stats. You see their gear, you see their collection power. So you always, if you're Blitz Simming, do the show stats. And this is an even better reason, is when you toggle between the two, the order of the team, the positioning of the opponent team changes. It's different between the show stats and the hide stats. And the show stats version is correct. I've taken screenshots, multiple matches of both, and then you go into the game and the order shown in the show stats is always correct. So you should always be doing show stats anyway, should never be doing the profile pictures, but this is yet another reason. So, I feel like I just ran a marathon there, Frid.
Yeah, no, I know. You put a lot into these bugs, so...
And this isn't even the full list. There's 10 more, but these are the key ones that I wanted to call out. So
yeah. So anyway, we'll bring this segment as needed. All in all, at least some of these navigational things were at the same time as they were delivering new functionality. So that's a good thing. But the quality has been a little bit better. But there's a ways to go. So we'll keep this in the show as needed. So with that now, let's get into some of the news.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Okay, so the first news was a little bit of a brouhaha about this, that apparently there is a server, Discord server for the Envoys, and one of them, I can't remember who it was, sort of showed in their stream, accidentally probably as he was navigating, where Cerebro had said and given an explanation that orb opening events, the thing people have been talking about like last year, 2 years ago, 2019, towards the end, we had it where you open orbs and you get stuff, how that's officially dead. Now, it's unclear, is it permanently dead? But for the foreseeable future, they are not planning to do this. And I think that's the right that's the right thing to do. I mean, this hoarding, and it's like the same thing with the milestones, right? It makes you not progress because you're waiting to get rewarded either by character shards or some materials, and just open as you need. You can hoard if you don't need anything, but obviously there's crunches everywhere, so I'm sure you need the materials. So don't worry about this. My recommendation, I think yours as well, is to you can save them and then open them when you need them. But some people are compulsive and they just want to open it all, that's fine too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because it's not going to help you at all. I think the only one that's you have to be strategic with is the Blitz gear orb, right?
Yeah.
Because that currency is in one big pool and you get to choose the bio skill mutant. So I would save those. But outside of that, just open away. Any other thoughts here with the orb opening?
No, I think that's the right move. Again, let's encourage players to do things that benefit them and are positive experiences, not negative experiences.
Yep. Okay, the next thing is we mentioned the Jubilee needs Pimtech. So our point here is to decide if we can predict what they're going to do about these characters in terms of making them farmable before she decides to grace us with her presence. So there's basically 3 that are not farmable. That is Ghost, Stature, and Yellowjacket. Now, Ghost has already been announced in the blog post from this week. And Creative. In which wonderful place did they decide to stick Ghost?
So we haven't had anyone show up in the Blitz store since August. We haven't had anyone in the Arena store, or Raid store since August, and that was Rescue and Cyclops. So surely they put them there, but no, put her in the War store. We already have men there. We just got men there. Come on, War store.
There's too many. There's so many damn characters in the War store. I mean, it's the most punishing place to put it, especially now that what you were doing, you can't even buy these characters. You're doing the gear because it's more beneficial at this time. Yep. So think about that. How can you even farm Ghosts from the War store? Come on, Scopely, throw us a bone. There's other stores. Let's put her in a node. That's pretty slow too, but this feels pretty punishing to me.
Yeah, this was a D move for sure.
Yep. Well, Stature then, would you say she's the weakest link of this team? Of the new ones?
The new ones, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So she'll probably end up in Raid or Blitz, right? Probably Raid. That's our prediction. I did hear Tawna say that he thinks they're going to do the domino move, which I don't like at all.
No.
Which is on the Blitz, but the orb, and then move domino to be farmable. I wouldn't like that at all. I prefer Raid or just Blitz regular, but we're going to go with Raid on this one because it's been a while. And finally, Yellowjacket. And as you mentioned with Zemo, he was Season 1's character. Yellowjacket is Season 2's Battle Pass, Mojo's Mayhem character, feature character. So what I'm going to say here is that they'll call that farmable, and that's the end of that. What do you think of that one?
He will definitely not be farmable prior to the Jubilee event. They will pretend that this is farmable. And I will complain yet for the second week of how I'm going to be 12 shards short. So I'm going to have to look at some orbs that he shows up in.
Man, so this is going to be tough, I think, for some people. If you didn't do anything for Ghost.
Yeah, and we spent how many tons of cores getting stature, tons of cores on Ghost. Even then we got 1%. So,
I did a bunch on Yellowjacket too. I didn't know he was coming. So
there you go.
Because this was speculated, so I did go for it. So I think this for free to play. This is gonna be pretty tough.
Well, it's official. All legendaries are paywalled. It's official. It's the Scopely move is the Iron Curtain has come down.
That's it. All right, and finally, you're the date master when it comes to legendary events. So what do you think we should expect Jubilee to come to us? When?
Yeah, so, unfortunately, we're getting Kitty Pryde next week, her Blitz, and so that'll be on January 21st, the evening time for the U.S. people. That's Friday for International. And so, they're not going to have Jubilee overlap with some of these new characters. They want to give legendary characters their own moment in the sun. So Kitty Pryde will run 21st and 28th blitzes, and then Iceman will come out the first 2 weeks of February, some sort of blitz or other event. So at the earliest, she would be coming February 15th, but I would say probably more like February 22nd.
So they've already announced that Phoenix is returning. Mm-hmm. So is there another one in between, or is it Phoenix and then Jubilee? I don't know.
We got Doc Ock on the 11th, so Phoenix will be the 25th. And I'm looking at the calendar. Apologies for the clicking noise. Yeah,
sorry,
so
I put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. So I think there'll be another legendary on February 8th, and then again 22nd. I'm even more certain now. The 22nd looks like the right date for Jubilee, assuming that she is not bug ridden and they hold her longer.
So who's the one after Phoenix then? That according to the cadence that we have.
Oh, I don't know that one. Give me a minute,
okay.
And I'll
look that up. I'm just putting you through the test here. I think you knew all of this off the top of your head.
Yeah. Let me.
It's gonna be one of those old timers like Magneto or something. Yeah,
the calendar restarts. They actually went out because we went out of order. I have to look back at my old notes. Sorry.
Well, no, this is my fault for bringing this up.
It's probably I think it restarts after Phoenix, so it'll probably be Star-Lord.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, maybe they'll make him permanent now. We'll see. Okay, so that's where we are with farmability and Jubilee. That also gives time for them to sell some more of these offers. So yeah, possibly. To really think about Battle Pass, do you want to spend the $20 or not? Okay, here's another thing. Speaking about farmability, I think we're at one of the low points in terms of unfarmable characters.
Definitely, we've had more characters at this point than probably ever, but. Around August, when we had Rescue and Cyclops come through, that was probably as many as we have now are pretty close. So we are definitely overdue for lots of characters to become farmable.
So let's see. Let's go through this list of characters. I'm just tired just thinking about it. Beast. That guy came out in July. We're at 6 months.
Yes.
Baron Zemo came in August. Now, they put him in their Battle Pass, so who knows? Maybe they'll consider that. Elektra and Scream and She-Hulk were in September. She-Hulk's probably going to be like Blitz. Okay. Anti-Venom in October. He's going to be probably nowhere. They can't keep putting people in the war store, so who knows what to do with him.
What new torture will they find for us?
Maybe he'll be the Battle Pass Season 3. Okay, Stature, Ghost, and Yellowjacket. We just talked about those. So yeah, I mean, Not to mention the ones that are orb only, right? We're talking like a symbiote Spider-Man, and Emma is not even in the orb yet. But when do you? I mean, you think this is gonna fix itself?
I
There's
mean,
no
it has
way.
to. It has to. We have nothing in the Blitz store forever. Nothing in the Raid store forever. We're overdue.
Do you think they'll do a 2-for-1 or something to like get us caught up? I don't think so, but
No, but this is the prediction that we've had for a long time, is that they release more than they make farmable, and we get more and more of a backlog. So I hope they fix it very quickly. I was surprised with our blog post that one of these did not make it into Blitz or Arena.
yeah, they're holding it another week. Maybe next week we'll hear something. Okay, the last thing of the news was that there is another event coming. And this one is called Covert Ops. And you will get rewards for using which kind of character creative? Which kind of character?
It's always got to be the brand new one to force you to do it. So skill military, folks.
I think it's just military.
Military, you're right. Military, my bad.
So that includes Captain America and Captain Marvel, but yeah, military characters. So Blitz, Arena, and Raids, it says you will get bonuses for opening these, and it's a daily milestone, so we'll see what it looks like. Now, there was an announcement of you will get fragments for a new armory orb that features tier 14 and 15 gear. Now, I called this out to Creative. I said, new. They never used that before. So I actually looked back at the Symbiote event. And when they bring these orbs, they call them limited time orb. Yet this one is being called new. So I'm assuming it's a permanent orb that will stay with us, that we'll have some other way to get to it. Or I may be just reading too much into it and it's just bad copy, which could happen. But they didn't mention anything. So what do you think? You think it's
I think
something that'll stick, or
I think you're wishful thinking. But we have proven time and time again that with the availability of these mats is way too limited. And that's why, one of the many reasons that they keep running these events is to make up for the economy problem.
So maybe an orb is a solution. So possibly.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
Hey, here's hoping, man. I need more these T15 mats. It's ridiculous.
I know. But while we welcome the ability to get free stuff, it's just another event. So I wonder if they've gone too far and we're getting a little bit fatigued with just so many events running all the time.
Yeah.
But hey,
Okay. Well, hey, we've run a little long just because I was way too long-winded with the bug report, but I did want to finish with a conspiracy corner. And we noticed that the Red Guardian orb, the Deep Freeze orb, was a little bit different. This is the first time ever that the feature character, or really character shards in general, are not in the middle. For whatever reason, the character shards are on the right side. And so I suspect that Scopely is somehow tinkering with the seed theory algorithm, trying to not make sure that we get this supposed god tier character. What do you think, Frid?
I told you I ran into a rough patch where he was not dropping, and I complained to you. I said, this is ridiculous. This character is never going to drop. I'm never going to get anything. But then the next morning, lo and behold, I started seeing golds and purples on the right. So I don't know. What are they trying? But you're right. We've never seen this on the right. That's weird.
Very, very weird. So who knows? In all fairness, and hopefully the era of political misinformation is coming to a close, hopefully. We have zero evidence of this. So it just was very, very odd. And then, of course, our drop rates before Frid magically got better have been uncharacteristically low, comparatively low compared to other events. So it's a little frustrating. We thought that would be fun for some comedy there.
Yep.
All right, Frid, where can people continue the conversation?
Well, yeah, so you can join the conversation on the Ragnarok Alliance public Discord server. We have 2 channels there, one with, or is it 3? There's one with infographics, one general we post the episodes. Is there one for questions?
And then one where you can post questions for us.
That's
three
right.
on the
There's
show.
3 channels. I should know my own channels. Creative generally pops in there more. Depends. I do pop in from time to time with some graphics. I did post the one about tracking the raid event for the Alliance. So come join us. It's fun there. It gets really lively sometimes, and some people have some cool anecdotes to share and just different kinds of information. The other way is you can leave us a 5-star. No, it doesn't have to be 5-star, but a review of the Apple Podcast store. That helps us with visibility. You can be like Carl, our friend from Germany, and write us via email at rngendgame@gmail.com. Or like those guys from, where were they? Sweden? No.
Oh, the podcast people, yeah.
Yeah, the podcast people that wrote us.
Yeah.
Tell us we were popular up there with the Nordic countries. So that's rngendgame@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter. Where else?
YouTube, all of them are RNG Endgame. So, yep.
Just find us there and keep the conversation going. Any last thoughts, Creative, before we depart?
No, I think we packed the things in there. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. But as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks, everybody.
We'll talk next week.